Black Friday is coming up and everybody instantly thinks they're gonna be rich in the next couple of weeks. I wanna tell you the story of my very first Black Friday and what I did to actually prepare. And at that time, I was flat out broke. I didn't really have money. I just started out with dropshipping. Nothing was really working. I was testing things here and there, made some sales through like Instagram shoutouts, but nothing was consistently working, okay? So the only way I was making money with dropshipping was through a couple of shoutouts. So I was doing a bunch of shoutouts with like niche pages on Instagram, and it kind of was working out. I mean, it was making a few $100s in revenue per month, which is in the end of the day nothing, and the profit margins were super slim. However, in my head, that was crazy, because in the end of the day, to me, that was crazy because I was making a couple of $100s every month from just online stuff, from this black magic outside of the real world. And I thought to myself, this is crazy. I just have to master this craft and I'm gonna make it work. So what my thought process was, is I'm gonna take a few $1,000s and invest them into shoutouts for that one day. To invest a few $1,000s in shoutouts in one single day was completely crazy for me. I never did it before. However, I decided to reach out to a crazy amount of influencers, to a crazy amount of pages, and just go for it. Okay? So what I did for around 3 weeks in a row was I was just reaching out to literally hundreds and hundreds of pages and negotiating deals with them, texting all of them, texting back and forth, making sure that they posted. It was all a super tedious and annoying process. And at the time, I didn't have this office here. What I was doing is I was just going to 5-star hotels and just working in the lobby there. And that's actually a really cool thing to do because for me, I cannot focus at home. If I'm sitting at home in front of my laptop, I cannot get shit done. Okay, so I noticed that and I was like, all right, let me just go somewhere else, doesn't matter where, and I get a coffee for $5 and I'm gonna be sitting there like a king in a 5-star hotel lobby and nobody's gonna even notice that I'm not even a guest. However, I was sitting there preparing all my shit and doing all the shout out stuff, and I was doing that for at least like 8 to 10 hours every single day for multiple weeks straight. Okay? And one time, like right before Black Friday, I actually went out of the hotel and a guy comes up to me and he's coming in really, really hot, super aggressive. He asked me for my ID. What the fuck am I doing here? He's like really pissed. So I'm confused what's going on. And he's a police officer, like an undercover police officer who was sitting there for multiple days straight next to me and was just watching me because apparently at Black Friday, the same day, there was some huge conference with a bunch of really important people in the same hotel, and they were thinking that I'm actually planning a terrorist attack. And he showed me there's a department of over 20 people just watching me through the cameras and making sure that I don't do shit. They're watching my laptop, they're watching me, they just see everything. And I basically see that they do that for days and days in a row, and I'm thinking everything which I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, everybody's watching right now. And I'm thinking if I did some weird things or not. And I remembered how, because I was broke, I didn't have enough money to get food in that hotel every single day. So what I did was I basically packed my little lunchbox and I had like a bunch of mozzarella sandwiches or whatever with me. And I was basically like eating them below the table and hiding everything and making sure that nobody sees me because it's like almost a restaurant, so I cannot just take my own food. However, I realized everybody was seeing that. So this guy keeps interrogating me and just wants to know why the fuck I'm here and what I'm doing and who the fuck goes to a lobby for every single day for 10 hours straight. And it was a huge mess. However, I could explain myself. Everything was fine. And then I actually had my first Black Friday. That Black Friday, I made around $3,000, okay? For me, that was a crazy amount to make in one day. However, because I was not focusing on anything else than making sales, I didn't calculate my profits. I didn't know how much I spent for the shoutouts. I didn't know how much it was all a mess. Basically felt like I was super profitable. I'm the shit. I made it. However, in reality, I maybe made like $400 or so in one day, which is like whatever, because I was working for that one day 3 weeks straight. So I didn't even make it in one day. I would make it in 4 weeks. So it's nothing crazy. However, what I did gain from that was data for Facebook. Because I was doing all those shoutouts and I had a Facebook pixel. And then when I sold the main product, which I was selling through the shoutouts on Facebook, it started doing so well. Every single ad set had like $3 per purchase, $3 per purchase, $4 per purchase, $2. It was so good, okay? Everything just worked. And the reason for that was I already had the data. Now, having data is gonna always give you huge head starts. And for me, it was literally the reason why I made Facebook ads work for the very first time in my life. Now I understand I could have made it work much easier and I didn't have to do like 10 months of shoutouts to actually make that work. So I was making every single day like 1K per day and I was only spending like $200, $250. It was really, really good, okay? However, I didn't allow myself to spend more. And I was like, I cannot, like, I cannot imagine spending more than $250 in one single day for random Facebook ad stuff. So luckily, I talked to a friend of mine about the situation. And I told her that I'm making like around 1K per day. However, I have no clue what the next steps are. I'm super afraid to spend more money. I don't know what to do. And she was like, if it's working, just spend more money. And I was like, oh, okay. And because I didn't have an answer to that, then I thought to myself, all right, there's no logical reason why not to just spend more money and make more. If I spend 250 and I make 1,000, let me spend 500 and make 2,000, okay? So I did it, and it actually did work out, and we scaled to like $8,000 per day in like 5 days. We scaled super, super, super aggressively, okay? However, the downside of doing that was that I couldn't keep up. I didn't know what's going on. I didn't know how to do profit tracking properly. I didn't know my proper numbers, my break-even points to AT. I didn't know how to hire virtual assistants. I didn't know a bunch of things, okay? And unfortunately, during that time, I had a mentoring program with one guy, but it expired and he didn't have a follow-up program. He just had a program of how do you start making money, but he didn't have the second program of how do you maintain making money, because that's actually way more important, because 1 month of 20K profit is useless if the next month and the month after that you're not going to make anything. Okay? So for me, it was a super wild journey of going up and down and everything crashing to zero again and then starting to make money again and then it goes down. It was all a mess and it was not consistent. And it took me over a year to actually figure out how to make this work consistent. And at the same time, I saw that every single friend of mine wants to do dropshipping as well because they saw I'm crushing it. Now, obviously, most of them weren't serious and most of them didn't really want to make dropshipping work. They just wanted to make quick money. And they saw that I kind of made quick money and they're like, all right, I want to do the same thing, okay? They didn't really see that I was working for a full year straight without making quick money for the same thing. And they also didn't see that I sacrificed a lot of other things to actually make this work. However, in the beginning, I was naive and I was trying to help everybody. I noticed most of them don't do shit. I literally told them, make a list of 30 products which basically fit my criteria, which I told them. And they're like, all right, I'm going to do it for sure. They didn't. And almost nobody did. However, one guy actually took it very seriously. He did everything I told him and he quit college after 3-4 months of me teaching him. And I was like, damn, I can actually make an impact here. I can genuinely change a person's life. And also instantly I saw I can make a shit ton of money with this as well. Because so many people are in a job which they don't want to do, they want to have an online business, have no clue how to get there, and I saw I can get them from A to B if they just listen to what I tell them. And I was like, all right, it's going to be a win-win. I'm going to help people. I'm going to make money. Let's do this mentoring thing. And yeah, that's the reason why I started this mentoring program. However, for me, what is really important is I don't do the same mistake as my previous mentor, which is not having a follow-up program. And for me, the main goal is always to work with one person for the longest amount of time if they actually execute what I'm doing. Because we both know that I'm going to make the most amount of profit if you get the results, and you know you're going to get the most amount of profit if I just tell you exactly what to do for the longest period of time. So in the end of the day, it's always about the long-term relationships here. And if you actually also want to get involved in this mentoring program, you can click the link below, sign up for a free consultation session with me personally. We're going to find out if it's a good fit. If yes, we're going to start working together, and if no, then not. So yeah, that's basically that, and talk to you there.